everybody, and welcome into the First and Football Podcast. Today is Sunday, December 17th, 2023, and more importantly, week one of the fantasy football playoffs. Those of
Except
you who
for our
made it,
weird league.
those of you who made it, congratulations. Hope you won. Those of you who lost and know you lost already, my condolences. I am your host, Justin Sutton, here in Green Bay, with my co-host, Mike Rosenthal, down in Milwaukee.
Back at home. What up? Repping the Packers, done with the Steelers. Even though the Packers are probably done too, but hey, you know what?
Yeah, that was a tough watch. I mean, it was definitely a little bit of a heartbreaker there, but it was the exact opposite of the script that I thought it would be. It was the heartbreak for Jordan Love, but hey, it is what it is.
We're just here to have fun, and it's better than not having football. You
That
got to
is
remember
true.
that.
And this is the first week with no bye weeks since like week 1 or week 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I had a pretty good weekend. Graduated from college with my bachelor's degree on Saturday.
Hey, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Started that degree in 2017. Been just doinking away at classes here, and yeah, it feels pretty good to be done with that. The Saturday
Congratulations,
didn't.
my friend.
Thanks, buddy, dude. It feels freaking nice to be done with that, man.
I bet.
Yeah, there's a weight off my shoulders. I'm super stoked. And now the holiday season, we got some football. I'm just doing my best to try and disconnect love for certain teams like the Packers and Steelers and just enjoy the fact that we have football. Because at the end of the day, us doing this podcast, we want to kind of obviously we have our biases towards our teams, but we also need to just enjoy the fact that we're watching football and we love the sport, even if our team isn't the best. Hey, we're here for the ride. Both you and I saw decades of great football and can't take that for granted. So,
Exactly. And not only are the holidays coming up and we have football on and to watch and whatnot, and that's great, but the best thing about both of those things is that we get even more of it around the holidays. For
yeah,
instance, we
buddy.
had Saturday football starting this week, and we're only gonna have more the closer we get to Christmas. So
Yeah,
let's
next
kick it
week
off
too. Yeah.
here with Saturday, the noon game, Vikings at Bengals. And my oh my, did this turn into be quite the game. That was not the game I expected. Bengals win it 27-24 in overtime. I mean, that's bonkers.
I
Wow.
expected a tie.
I was
It,
kind of hoping for a tie so we'd both be wrong.
I mean, we,
But
we
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 were
did
still
get a
wrong.
wash. We got a wash. I did say since he was going to win, but I took the line and it was -3 and they won by a field goal. So, that kind of saved your butt there.
Yeah, a
Uh,
little bit.
But let's talk about Jake Browning, another 300 plus yard game. He didn't play as well as he has in the past, but still 300 plus yards. Whatever this Bengals offense has going on, like their schematics, they're smart. They're a good football team. They're going to be a big threat. I mean, they have a chance to make the playoffs here. They're 8-6. I mean, I don't think Joey Burrow can't come back, right?
I
I'm
don't
not
believe
sure.
so. I think he's done for the season. They said it would take at least 6 weeks for him to recover. Excuse me, that was Justin Herbert. I haven't heard any sort of recovery
Yeah,
timeline on Joe Burrow. So I'm hearing that I heard that he was supposed to make a full recovery well in advance of the offseason, OTAs and
yeah.
stuff like that. But I have not heard if he's like able to come back at all in the late playoffs. But I don't really think they're going to get in the playoffs at this point, man. Like they might have the record to, but they lost Jamar Chase with
Uh,
an AC joint sprain. That's
no,
usually
he's day to day. I
day
saw
to
he was day
day.
to day.
It's a
Yeah,
really mild one.
yeah.
Ooh.
So
Well, that changes the complexion entirely then. Yeah, if as long as they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins can stay healthy, I think
that
they
T
yeah,
Higgins catch,
dude,
woo,
that man just
head
earned himself a contract somewhere with
contract.
that.
I literally said that. I was like, he just got paid.
He
Probably not with
just
the
got
Bengals,
paid.
but he just got paid.
Yes, I completely agree. Not with the
Jordan
Bengals.
Addison too, 6 receptions, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. I got him in 2 leagues on my bench
He
because
had
I
that
don't know when to play him, but man, is he good at football.
he had that grown ass man catch for that second touchdown, man. That was wild. Yeah, what a game. Nick Mullins, he showed up like I
303
thought he
yards.
would, man.
Those 2 interceptions, kind of daggers for him. They would
That's
have
why
won
he's,
that
that's why
game if
that's why
that.
he's a backup QB.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I
I think the
mean,
Vikings D kind of blew it, dude. Like I talked him up. I thought the Vikings D was going to come out rocking, and like it started pretty good, and then Bengals figured it out. That's for sure. And Vikings
yeah,
could not adjust late, so
Bengals are a good football team, man. I would not
they
be
are.
surprised. I mean, are they in a playoff spot as of right
I
now?
believe they are. Let me double check
I
that.
think it's the Colts, the Browns, and the Bengals. Yep, it's Colts, Browns, Bengals.
Yes, sir.
So, like you said, man, great football game. I mean, I think the Packers still have a 49% chance, so the Vikings losing helps. But regardless, it's impressive what Cincy's doing here with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I completely agree. Another team that's very impressive with their backup quarterback. Let's move on to the next one here, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. They took down the Steelers there in Indy at the 3:30 game, and they were favored by 1.5. Took down the
Yeah, I think
Steelers
that
30-13. I took that line. Mike did not, so that
yeah.
worked out for me.
Yeah, this Steelers team is they're they're toxic. It's done. The culture is just it's something that Steelers fans have never seen or had to deal with. It's unbelievable. I mean, even Mike Tomlin at the press conference was dogging his own team. He's like, yeah, and I mean, obviously he takes the blame for it, but I mean, what Deontay Johnson said after the game that the leaky defense needs to help the offense. Well, talk about all the times the offense didn't help the defense. The Steelers would have a better record than they do right now if they could score maybe one or two touchdowns a game. This this whole team is done for this year. That's fine. They need to figure out the culture. Najee Harris fumbling that ball. I mean, they started off with a 13-0 lead and they didn't score anything after that. They're not a good team. It's something up in the head. It, that's what they got talented players. They need to get an OC in there and a new head coach and a new defensive coordinator. They need to revamp this team and see if Kenny Pickett's that dude. It's hard to you can't know if Kenny Pickett's that dude because nobody can do anything with his offense. They're
Right.
awful.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
need
and
a
they would be very smart to call up the Giants and see what kind of compensation it would take to go get Brian Dable as their next HC.
I mean, they need
He
it. They
could be
need to
the
do.
OC and the HC because I don't think Tomlin's the answer anymore.
I mean, dude, like
I
I
think
said at the
Tomlin's
beginning
run
of
his
this
course.
podcast, I kind of had, I'm at the point with the nostalgia of, hey, we had great years of Steelers football, but man, this whole middle of the pack BS. And now, I mean,
Never
we're
had
not
a
getting
losing
draft pick.
season.
Who cares, man? We're not doing
Exactly.
anything, and we're wasting time with a first round draft pick quarterback. Kenny showed flashes of being a good quarterback, but nobody can do anything with his offense. Mitch Trubisky is not as bad as what this offensive scheme is making him look. He's not a great quarterback, but nobody can be productive in this offense. We're wasting George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. You can just set George Pickens. None of these receivers are blocking. None of these tight ends are blocking. Nobody's doing anything because the message is dead. I like Tomlin is going to be a Hall of Fame coach. Let's rip the Band-Aid off at the end of this season and see what next year has to offer because we're falling behind. We're going to end up bottom of the AFC North. And I don't even know the last time the Steelers were in last place in the AFC North. Granted, the division's hard and everybody has a 500 or winning record, but yeah, man, it's time to do something different. And I don't hope obviously I want to watch the Steelers win football games, but I mean I'd like a higher draft pick.
Yeah,
We're not doing it.
it's pretty sad that the Steelers actually had something to play for this year after the first four snaps of their season, and that their offense and their team entirely just kind of still looks like the Jets.
They were 7-4, playing two win teams in a row, and then the Colts, and now they're 7-7. It's coaching, man.
Yep,
They're not playing for this guy. They're mentally just checked out.
I
Somebody's got to
completely agree.
wrangle them in. But the Colts, shout out to them. I still don't think that the Colts are going to be a team that's making the playoffs. They're a decent football team, but I think that there's too many juggernauts, aka the Bills, that are going to come up and snag a playoff spot. The Brownies are going to keep their playoff spot here with a veteran quarterback at the helm, and we'll talk about them later. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it's gonna be Browns, Bengals, Bills running those wild card spots this year.
I mean, there is a world in which the Dolphins get kind of booted out of the playoffs entirely, and that's if the Dolphins win out. The Bills win out, and then the Dolphins kind of lose out, and the Colts win out. I think that would be pretty close then, because then Bills would take the division. Dolphins would be they're gonna lose two more games after today. That'd be 10-6.
They'll
Colts would
still
be
take a
ten and
wild
six.
card.
Bills would be 11-6. Yeah, it kind of depends on what the Bengals do. I think the Bengals are 8-6 right now, and I think it's either the Bengals or it's going to be the Dolphins that are the odd man out.
Yeah.
I think the Jake Browning magic is going to run out. I think Minshew mania, like, dude, it's like he's had tape out there all season. He hit his rough spell, and now he's playing even better. So, like, Jake Browning, I think he's still in that kind of puppy love phase. And like once he gets a little more tape out there and DC start to lock in on him, like, dude, playoff football rolls around. I'm sorry, I trust Gardner Minshew a little bit more than I trust Jake Browning. I know he's
Yeah.
at least like had that kind of experience.
And Jake Browning has to face the Steelers next week, which isn't much of a task, but at the same time,
He could get
it's divi-
exposed. It's divisional.
it's divisional football,
Yep.
AFC North football. Mike, I mean, in Pittsburgh, this team isn't the team that they need to be, but at the same time, hey, let's everybody remember the Steelers beat the Ravens this year. Don't ask how they won. So
Yeah, exactly. Not now. Now it's don't ask how. Before it was we beat the
yeah,
Ravens. Now it's don't ask how. I love it. Oh, that's funny.
but and then they play the Chiefs and then the Browns. So those are three tough Bengals games.
Yeah,
So,
but
but regardless, yeah,
let's
yep,
move on to the next
yeah.
game here of Saturday, the night game, which was entertaining for a little bit and then not so much, unless you are a Detroit Lions fan. That was the Broncos at the Lions. -4.5 was the line for Detroit. We both stayed away from that, and we were both so wrong. The Lions annihilated the Broncos 42-17. I mean, it
Yeah.
was the game just got away from Denver. I don't even think it was like they played that terrible of football. It was just like the Lions were just that good. And I mean, shout out to the Lions defense, man. They showed up and they made plays. They made it really difficult on that Denver offense.
Yeah, Goff plays phenomenal football at home.
Yeah, once Denver fell
Five.
behind, it was over.
I hate the stat. A 5 touchdown, 278-yard game is kind of like that team that they were playing really effed up. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of touchdowns for not a lot of yards. But Jared Goff didn't lose the ball. He protected the ball, and that was extremely important for the Lions because he's playing like he did at the beginning of the season. These past, I don't know, however many weeks, he has been a detriment to the team. And he wasn't this week, and they got a big win. Yeah, and Jahmyr Gibbs too, continuing to be a rookie stud.
absolute stud.
11 carries, 100 yards, and a tutter. Let's
Plus, he had
go.
that nice catch for the touchdown. That was
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, this and Sammy Laporta, dude.
Oh, dude, he's got a chance to be the next Travis Kelce. He really does, man. In that scheme, his talent, especially like I kind of think the Lions are stuck. I think they have to sign Jared Goff to a deal because who are they going to get that's better? There's a lot of people that are worse.
They're still
So
10-4.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
hard to
mean,
argue that.
especially if Jared Goff sticks around in that kind of scheme with a good old line like that, where they don't need him to block on every single play, dude. Laporta is, oh man, I'd be getting my hands on Laporta if I could in a dynasty league. He's about the only tight end I believe in for the future that
Yeah,
heavily.
yeah, the Lions have a great path here to I mean, they're going to need that home field advantage in the playoffs.
Yep.
So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, and as far as
The
the Broncos go,
Broncos.
I really don't have a whole lot of notes on the Broncos here.
I just feel like the game straight up got away from them. Like
Yeah,
they never like they. I think they really screwed up when they were down at the goal line, and I believe they went for it on fourth down and got stopped. And then the Lions went all the way down the field and scored. Like that was kind of when I thought the Broncos were in trouble. Once the Lions went 90, basically 98 yards, 99 yards, something like that, I was like, man, it's over probably for the Broncos. Sean Payton had them ready to play. They just couldn't.
yeah,
The guys like just weren't executing. They were off by just enough to not make plays. And ultimately, once you're down by 2, 3 possessions, dude, it's real easy for the defense that's ahead to just pin their ears back and go get you and dissect every play you're running.
yeah. I'd be interesting to know a fact of a team's ability to come back from a win when they go for on fourth down in the goal line and then don't get it and then give up a 90-something yard drive.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Lions bounce back this week. Let's move on to a game that we were both kind of excited about for fantasy purposes, but sad
Oh,
for personal reasons.
yes.
And it
To
was the
kick.
Buccaneers at Packers, Green Bay -3.5. I thought that the Buccaneers were going to win, and they did win. And I did not take that line, and you did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy that this was a Sunday noon game to kick it off on Sunday because I was not going to be able to live with the anticipation of getting to watch the fate of my fantasy football team and the fate of the Packers playoffs hopes decided all in one game, essentially.
Yeah. Well,
I
the
mean,
Packers have a 49% chance, I think, right now to
I
make the
think they can
playoffs
still
still.
make it technically. Yeah, like they're gonna have to they're gonna need some people to lose. I think to actually
They
get a
don't have
good
their own
matchup
faith
in the
anymore.
playoff.
Or fate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna need some people to lose, but I would at this point like if they missed the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. If they made the playoffs, I'd be like, cool, we overachieved. And the only chance I think we have, the only way I think we have a chance in hell to win a playoff game is if we go get matched up with Detroit, but that's beyond the point. I mean, we just were sloppy, man. Like I was talking to a buddy right away from the get go of the game, to our aforementioned friend Bubba from the previous episode, and I'm just like, the defense is lacking energy. The offense and Love look just off enough to get you down the field, but not score in the red zone or like have miscues to stop drives. I'm like, this game just kind of spells death to me, and that's kind of exactly how it played out. The Buccaneers had their way. They were able to run the ball. They were able to throw the ball. They could do whatever they wanted against this defense because Joe Barry is the worst D coordinator in the league. I don't know why he's still here. Should have been gone after last season. I hate that man as much as Steelers fans hated Matt Canada. Believe me, Packers fans got that hate for Joe Barry.
Maybe
Nobody wants
Packers
him
go
here.
get
He's
Mike
trash.
Tomlin.
I wanted to go get Greg Williams, Mr. Bountygate himself, but that's frowned upon. But shout out to Tampa, man. They are in control of their playoff destiny right now, especially with Atlanta losing today. They are firmly in the driver's seat, a game ahead of them in the NFC South. I mean, Buccaneers look dangerous, dude. Baker must have woke up feeling dangerous because shout out to him. This had to be the best game of his career. Was he like
22 for 28, 381 yards, four tutters. As you guys, if anybody that listens knows, we love Baker Mayfield.
yes,
And
we are
shout out to
Baker
Chris
fans.
Godwin for 155 yards. A guy that was I mean, a lot of people just were like, he's on your team,
Yeah.
whatever. But man, he balled out. Thank God Mike Evans got a touchdown.
10 grabs at that on Godwin.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean another big performer, dude. Shout out Rashad White. I mean, 21 carries, 89 yards, but he
Yeah.
did his damage in the receiving game. Two
Yep.
catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown, dude. That catch he made and the move he had to make to then make the catch and then readjust to go get in the end zone. I mean, and the
Yeah.
throw to him from Baker in between the coverage, that was nasty, man. It was props to Tampa. They played a really good game today, man. We did not show up, and they
Yeah.
did.
I think Jordan, as far as the analysis of Jordan Love, I thought he was somewhere in between how he was on that 3 game span and how he played last week. I think he's in the middle of that high, that low, and he's just kind of hanging out in that middle. Because at the
Yes.
beginning, he had some overthrows. He had some balls that were questionable, but he also threw some nice balls. So I really as a Packers fan, even if they don't make the playoffs, I really, really enjoy what I saw this year. They've thrown a bunch of touchdowns to rookies this year. There's a lot of hope on this team. Um, I mean, Love could have played a little bit better, but at the same time, I mean, Tampa, Tampa went off. It's kind of hard to do much
Yeah.
when Baker Mayfield throws 22 for 28 for 381 yards.
Yeah.
That they just went off.
I mean, 34 points, dude. And I'm not going to say we have a good defense, but it's not ranked in the 20s. It's
It's
ranked
not
middle of
good.
the pack. It's
Yeah.
it's not great, but it's not the worst. It's an
Yeah.
NFL defense, and Baker went out there and diced it up like it was a college defense, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, as far as Jordan Love goes, dude, I'm ecstatic with what I saw today. I really thought that this is what I expected to see. This game right here, this is what I expected him to look like coming out the gate week 1 for the rest of the season. I guess
Man.
that's probably
Yeah.
why I guess my expectations were a little too high on that, but I don't think it's flashing anymore. This is the guy Jordan Love is. He is that dude now. It's just
No,
for him, it's a matter of developing the consistency because
yeah, that
he's just missing by 5 or 10% on some they're basically high level mistakes. You know what I mean? They're not low level
he's
mistakes.
getting the reads right, which
Yes.
is that's what is that? I mean, I don't know what percentage of that, but I would almost say it's 99% of it.
That's
Get
what I'm
those
saying.
reads right. No, I'm with you
He's
on that.
missing
Like that,
like his footwork isn't the greatest on a certain type of pass. That's why he
yeah.
overthrew a guy to the left side crosser or something like that. It's like, dude, those are like high level mistakes. Like that shows the growth that he's not just a dude. He's a
Yeah.
real franchise quarterback.
Yeah, that's like kind of my analogy of he had those really 3 games that he was way the fuck up here. Last week he was way down here. This week he was in the middle, and middle is a good franchise quarterback. And if he can continue to play like this, he had 284 yards and 2 touchdowns. If
Yeah.
they can get a little bit of that run game going, I mean, granted, it's like you said, Joe Barry defense did not help them at all.
Yeah. J Lo did not lose us that game by any stretch.
Yeah.
That defense was just
Yeah, he
bleeding.
protected the ball.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a run game going, which kind of stunk, but I mean, they were playing catch up too. So
Yeah.
the run game's pretty much dead when you're you're playing catch up. I mean, what they were down. I guess it wasn't
It's
totally
pretty
catch up,
much
but
they were pretty much always down at least one possession the entire game.
yeah. But
Another team that was down at least one possession just about the entire game here was the next game, and that is the Bears at the Cleveland Browns. And man, Cleveland, how about that comeback victory? That was, I mean, as an AFC North fan, that probably kills you, but
I
Browns
mean,
-3 in Cleveland. We both
they've
took
done
that
that a
line, and
bunch.
it was a push. That was a thrilling, basically game-winning field goal at time expiring, and Justin Fields was left to throw a Hail Mary that was almost completed,
Yeah.
but almost doesn't win. So
Man, the Browns have had so many like last second wins here. They're kind of like the Vikings of last year where they're just like
yeah,
squeaking it in.
totally.
Um, Yeah, Joey Flacco, 374 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only downside of this dude was 3 interceptions. Um, Justin Fields, some of those receivers dropping balls on him. I still like Justin Fields. I mean, he was 19 for 40. It's kind of hard to like a whole lot, but man, they dropped some major balls for him. There were some major plays where the Bears guys dropped balls. I think one was like a bomb to Cole Kmet, and it would just like bounced out of his hands.
I
Like it,
saw one that he laid up there to Mooney, and like it was maybe
maybe it
six
was
inches
Mooney. Oh
overthrown, like
no.
down the left sideline. But he had pressure in his face, like he was moving in the pocket. All of a sudden, catches him out of the corner of his eye, throws the ball. I mean, it's a little bit of a tougher catch to make, but dude, he definitely could have made that catch. And Mooney just
Yeah.
tracks the ball like shit, drops it barely touches his hand, even though he could have made a nice over the
Maybe
shoulder
that was the
catch.
one that I was thinking of.
Oh, that's the
But
one that I saw that had me enraged at the receiver.
yeah, I mean, the Browns are a tough team. The Bears only let Ford get 20 rushing yards. I
Yeah.
mean,
Bears defense
the
is real,
Bear,
man.
I think the Bears have a lot to look forward to. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the quarterback situation in the offseason here. But the it, I'm
No, it's
surprised
not.
that,
We know what's going to happen.
yeah, they're
Fields
going to
is
pick a
gone.
quarterback and he's gone.
Yeah, it's not going to be interesting. We know what's going to happen.
But I mean,
The draft will be interesting.
they can't protect Ford worth of shit, or not Ford Fields worth of shit. This
Yeah.
dude's running for his freaking life, man. It's just the curse of being a Bears quarterback. No matter what they do, drafting offensive linemen, paying offensive linemen, anything, it's just they stink.
Yes, I completely agree. And then when they do
But
get the O line right, like the QB is nowhere nearly as good as like even Justin Fields. It's
yeah,
like a Mitch Trubisky type deal.
I
But
think one thing I take away from every Browns game I watch is I wish I
Miles
had
Garrett is such a
Njoku.
beast.
Oh, I'm not
Oh,
thinking about Miles Garrett. I'm thinking about Njoku. That dude is
he's
a
a dog.
he's a dog. Like you don't think you look at him, you're like you think he's a big clunky tight end, but man,
Blocking
that dude's
tight end. Yeah.
athletic.
Oh
He is
yeah.
a man. That dude is great to watch. Oh, I wish he
Honestly,
was on a team that I liked. Man, that
yeah. Honestly, there's very few tight ends in the league that I watch, and I'm like, man, those dudes are like ballerinas on the field, and he's one of them. Like that dude is
10
so light
receptions,
on his feet, it's crazy. Like
10 receptions, 104 yards.
the
Like,
agility he has, the moves he can make, his hurdles. Like, dude, that dude is wild. Yeah,
dude, he got 14 targets this game.
but I mean, honestly, shout out to Miles Garrett, man. He was wrecking the entire game, the whole game. It was like tackles for losses, constant pressures, disruptions everywhere. I mean,
He had
Miles
one tackle for loss.
yeah, one, but what about pressures and hurries and like just like all the plays that he disrupt like that you
Yeah.
don't see on the stat sheet. Like
Yeah.
he just
I mean,
popped
he is
off the screen
impactful.
to me
What's his
today, man.
name? Was it number 9 or something like that for the Browns? Kept he my
JOK.
attention. Maybe that's who it was.
Yeah,
They,
Jeremiah Owosu Koromora.
yeah, he was
He's a
fly.
beast.
I mean, Miles Garrett demands two people, which opens it up for these other dudes to come in.
Yep.
I'm surprised that the Bears were able to score 17 and keep this game close, but I mean, shout out to the Brownies, man. 9-5.
They're getting it done.
They're getting it done, man. They're kind of like, I mean, not to go back, but the Steelers of old, where they can have a somewhat at least they have a little bit of offense. Their defense is very, very good,
Oh,
and the
Flacco gives
offense.
them some substance on offense for sure. More substance than you guys got. Like,
Well,
not
yeah,
to be an
as
asshole, but
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what they have over.
yeah, for sure.
You put a actually, it doesn't matter who you put at the Steelers. They suck, but
Mahomes could fix that, but so you
that
need
yeah.
you would need that kind of talent. But let's move on to the next game here. We got Texans at Titans. Tennessee was favored by 3.5. Mike, you took that line, and I did not, and I was correct on that.
You were.
Yeah, I didn't think Houston was going to win, but I thought they would keep it really tight.
You're
I,
barely correct on that, but yeah.
yeah, honestly, I was watching the red zone, and they were flashing that game in here and there, and then like all of a sudden towards the end, I wanted to start watching the other games.
But they wouldn't stop putting those games on.
Yeah, right. So they had that on. So anyways, I was looking on my phone, and all of a sudden I see final OT 16-16 Houston, Tennessee, and I'm like, no way, they really ended in a tie. So I go flick back the channel over to Red Zone because I think I was looking for Dallas and Buffalo, and all of a sudden, like he's lining up for the kick, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's about to miss this because my ESPN app was just a hair ahead of real time TV for me,
Yeah.
and he makes the kick, and I'm like, what? Did the ESPN app lie to me? And yeah, sure enough, I go and check in 1916. So I mean, dude, that's a huge win for the Texans there, man. I think they're still going to sneak in the playoffs, man. CJ Stroud's coming back, and that's going to be enough. Noah Brown is good enough for CJ Stroud. He has that Tom Brady effect to where it's like he just makes everybody around him better. Like he throws dudes open. Receivers don't make him. He makes receivers already as a rookie quarterback, dude. It's crazy. Like
Yeah, they could get Nico Collins back too if they hold on long
exactly.
enough. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if the Texans snuck in.
Oh yeah, that'd be delightful to
I mean,
watch.
let's send our condolences here to Will Levis, who's probably I don't know if he it looks like he's probably gonna have the same Kenny Pickett surgery maybe
Yeah,
of a
that looked
high ankle
bad.
sprain, um, which will probably put him out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But man, as a Titans fan, I'm not mad to be a Titans fan. Like
Oh yeah, Will Levis is a dog.
watching the problem is he's almost too much of a dog where there's some real dogs on defense that are gonna hurt you.
Yeah, like he's got
Like,
that Josh Allen dog in him, and it's like you ain't
but he ain't
Josh
as
Allen
yeah,
size,
you ain't
homeboy.
yeah. I mean, he's a jack dude, but Josh Allen like is a big. I don't know how much bigger Will Levis is over Josh Allen. We can find that out.
Yeah, let's say
Will
Josh
Levis is
Allen.
6'4", 229. Josh
That's
Allen
probably similar. I think Josh Allen's about
6
6'5",
foot
240.
5,
240.
238. So that
Yeah.
I mean they're pretty comparable in size there.
He's got
Obviously, you
about
can tell Levis is a lot leaner. I
yeah.
mean,
Allen's a little lankier, but
but I mean, you got to be amped a little bit. I mean, somewhat. I mean, you got an old DeAndre Hopkins and an old Derrick Henry as a Titans fan. That's not super fun.
hey,
But hey,
Chigo Okonkwo was pretty cool.
they're putting on a little bit of a show here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to the next one
I
here.
was
Eh?
disappointed, man. This had Mike Vrabel game written all over it, and he could not capitalize. But yeah, next game here, another disappointing game. Jets at Dolphins. Man, I kind of convinced you to not take this line
I
of
know you did.
Miami -9.5, and we were both incorrect. I mean, it
Even
doesn't help
without
that,
Tyreek Hill.
and that's honestly, I attribute that to Zach Wilson getting knocked out the game very early. If Zach Wilson would have been able to stick in there, I do believe that the game would have been even tighter than what it was. I mean,
Yeah.
30-0. I think the Jets at least get some points on the board if Zach Wilson in there, but
Yeah,
nonetheless,
because
we were both wrong on this.
he threw
Miami
a couple
absolutely
nice
dominated.
balls.
Jalen Waddle went off.
Yeah, he threw a couple
Mostert
nice
had a couple
balls.
tubs.
Yeah, Mostert, shout out to him for I think
Yeah,
most touchdowns in a season for a Dolphin. I think it was at
nice.
19 or something like that.
Holy
So
shnikes. Yeah, that's a
old
lot.
old man is a great asset to have. And then you get Achan. I mean, they might as well just rest Achan for the playoffs and then use
Old man
Achan in the
Mostert.
playoffs
Yeah,
and put Mostert in when you need him. Like,
old man Mostert getting it done.
yeah, and he's stayed healthy this year, which is amazing. Yeah,
That
I
is
mean,
amazing.
the Dolphins did not even blink an eye at the Jets defense. They didn't obviously throw up a crazy game like they had. They only had 290 yards, but they didn't need that many yards when the Jets turned the ball over 4 times.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we should have taken that line. What are we thinking?
Yeah, what are we thinking?
But I mean, you don't take that line. Like that was with thinking Tyreek was going to play. I thought he was going to play. And he, without him playing, nobody would have thought a blowout like that. Because I mean, the narrative has been if Tyreek's done, the
Dolphins
Dolphins
can't move
stink.
the ball. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we were using our brains a little bit though for that next game of Chiefs versus Patriots. Kansas City, it was in New England. Kansas City was favored by 8 points. And
Yep.
yeah, Kansas City took care of
It got
business.
close there for a little bit, though.
Just a little bit. I mean,
Just
what
a
was the
little bit in
final
like the
score here?
second, like the middle of the game, it got a little bit close. It was only 27-17.
Yeah, I mean, they still covered the line by 2 whole points. So, I mean, Kansas City
Yeah,
kind of had
Zach
that game in control the entire time.
Henry once again being the number one target here for the Patriots. Did Ezekiel Elliott get injured or something? What's up with Harris being the number one rusher?
I think that's just, New England stuff. Bill Belichick likes
Okay.
to do that.
I wasn't sure if he got hurt or something like that in that game, but I guess I don't think I saw anything.
Nah, Patriots are mediocre, man. They need a new quarterback. They need a new coach. Like I kind of think that Hoodie is going to be gone after the season, and they definitely need a quarterback. So that's all they
Yeah.
can look forward to, in my opinion. If you're a New England fan, I'm sorry to say that, but at least you are going to get a top tier pick for a top quarterback prospect. So you're going to at least get probably one of the top three dudes.
Was Travis Kelsey was a little bit injured there in that game too with an elbow injury. I don't know how much that's going to affect him in the coming weeks, but
He just seems to get dinged up every week now, man. It
he's
kind of
old.
seems, yeah, he's old, and I think the age is starting to show. I think this might be the last run here for Travis Kelsey.
Give me that run here in fantasy playoffs, please. I have him in one league and I need that.
Let's move on to the next game here. Giants at Saints. Saints were favored by 5.5 points, and I did not take that line. And Mike, you did, and boy, should I have. I mean, I still feel pretty confident that the Giants would have been a lot more competitive if DeVito didn't get knocked out of the game pretty early on there. But Saints absolutely took care of business, man. That was
Yeah.
egregiously bad. I mean, 24-6, New Orleans rolled the Giants. It's like Giants just could do nothing.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely surprised. I think like what I said, the Giants' luck was about to run out here. Uh
Yeah, you were right.
I mean DeVito threw 20 for 34, 177 yards and he rushed. The problem is, I mean, this dude's fast and he's rushing, but dude,
DeVito had 34 pass attempts before he got knocked out the game?
did he finish the game?
No. Tyrod was the player, was the quarterback. I'm like, there's no
I
way
mean,
he
I
had
see him as
30.
active. I don't
Really? I thought DeVito got knocked out of the game.
I'm not sure, but
Let me check here. See what I can find.
no, he was playing in the fourth, dude.
Wow, I thought he got knocked out of the game because he went to the locker room and then all of a sudden he didn't come back for a while. And like last I had heard, he wasn't
Yeah,
in. I didn't know he came back in.
yeah, like 2 minutes left in the fourth, he threw a pass. So,
Oh, wow. Well, that's
but yeah,
unfortunate. Yeah, I take that back. Then the Giants just straight
take
up got annihilated. Wow.
yeah, I mean,
Because
the Saints are
DeVito
just a
was
better
killing him
team.
early on with his legs. That's what I thought was going to keep it interesting. But
3 touchdowns for Derek Carr, 218 yards. I mean, maybe the Saints here squeak in, but I don't think the Saints are making a push for anything big here this year. They're kind of just, I mean, they are what they are. They're 7-7. So,
yeah,
but they're keeping pace here with the whatchamacallits,
yeah,
for
the
the division,
whatchamacallits.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
see that Week 17 showdown in the fantasy football championship. That might be for all the marbles there for the division between Tampa Bay and New Orleans.
that's going to be huge. And then they have another division game against the Falcons after that.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of, let's move on to that next game. Falcons at Panthers. Atlanta was favored by 3 points. We were both suckered into taking that, and Arthur Smith showed us that he sucks.
Oh my God.
I mean, how do
Dude,
you lose to
Bijan getting
Carolina?
point. Bijan getting 0.4 points for me in fantasy in the first week of playoffs. I think I'd lost that game no matter what. But for other people that needed him, that maybe it was a close game, 0.4 points in usage of Bijan. He fumbled the ball, I know, once, maybe twice. But what do you do? How do you lose to the Panthers in a rain game when you have Algier, who is a decent run? Like you can, I don't understand it. I don't.
Bijan got negative zero point 0.1 points in half point PPR. So in
Yeah,
standard, he would have got
point
negative
four.
points, negative zero point 0.6.
I got point 0.4 from him.
Oh, yeah, and just a standard. Yeah, so you must be in full point PPR then.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it. I
That's
mean,
egregious. That's like you drafted him like top 10. Is that what they took him, right? Top 10?
oh yeah, no doubt.
And
Oh
just to
yeah.
not use him, like that's I mean, at least the Giants when they drafted Saquon, they ran the piss out of him.
Well, I
Like
mean, Bijan's been a good running back this year. Like he's had great games. He is not as good as what
they don't
you would
feed him the
want him to
rock the way
be,
they need to.
but he
Like
still has had some great
he's
games.
their franchise player, dude. You don't take a guy that high and not like make him the face of your franchise. Like Desmond Ritter wasn't even taken that high. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, I think Bijan is the best thing they have on offense. How do you not just showcase that every game until you're forced to change your game plan? Like that, I don't know. To me, it's
yeah. I mean,
egregious. You don't have much to work with in Atlanta in terms of offensive skill weapons. Like Kyle Pitts appears to be good, not great. He could use a quarterback that would help his case, but like all the reports I've heard about him are like maybe he just wasn't, as it wasn't quite as advertised. Drake London's
yeah,
phenomenal. They got Drake London and Bijan. That's it. Like
they need a
everybody else
quarterback.
is meh. Yeah, their line is okay, not great. It's
They
like
got Patterson, Cordero Patterson too. I mean,
he's got 1 foot out his in terms of his career, he's got 1 foot in the grave, the other on a banana peel. He's old, injured, like
the
he's almost done. I doubt he'll be back next year.
the Falcons had a 71% chance to win this game, or 76% chance to win this game with 8 minutes left in the fourth.
That was outrageous, man. Absolutely
That game was
outrageous.
boring. I think
Game was
I
terrible.
can't believe we're talking this much about
Yeah, nine
it.
to seven. Yeah, forget that game. We're gonna take a break here. We're done talking about this game.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're gonna be getting into the 3 o'clock round of games. And just so everybody is aware, it is about 7:10 p.m. Central Time. The
Yep.
Sunday night game of Ravens at Jacksonville will be kicking off here shortly.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we'll
we're
be
gonna
back
buzz through
after
these
this
last
break.
three when we're back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back in. We are back from our break, and we're about to dive into the 3 o'clock set of games. So we're going to kick it off here with Commanders at Rams. Rams favored by 6.5 points. We both took that line, and we were both correct. Rams beat the Commanders 28-20. And man, just a bunch of garbage points from the Commanders. Rams dominated that game from basically start to finish.
Yep. I love the Rams, love Matthew Stafford. I don't want to play them in the playoffs. If they get in the playoffs, I think that I mean it's just hard to bet against a veteran like that with the weapons that he has.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saved one little tweet here that I wanted to mention a stat. Jacoby Brissett had more passing yards than Sam Howell, despite only playing the last two drives for the Commanders.
Yeah, he did it on 8 completions, 10 pass attempts.
Yeah, so 10 drives, 102 yards for Howell, 124 yards, 2 drives for Brissett.
Yeah, shout out
Which
to Terry
dunk time,
McLaurin.
but
Yeah, shout out to
woo,
Terry McLaurin too, dude. He had a day, 6 for
scary
141 in a
Terry.
tub. I mean, Kyron Williams went off 27 carries for a buck 52 in a tub. Cooper Kupp, vintage game, 8 for 111 in a tub. I mean, this was gold for fantasy football here. Unless you were one of those people who had Brian Robinson and or Sam Howell, then it did not work out so well for you. But Terry McLaurin owners were loving it. That's for sure. Kyron Williams, Matthew Stafford had a pretty solid day, as we were talking about, 25 of 33, 258 and 2. No
Yep.
interceptions. We love to see that. Yeah, I mean, dude, Sean McVay's got this team fighting for a playoff spot, and I think they're going to make one.
Yeah, what I haven't looked at. Let me look at these standings here.
Yeah, the Rams are in the 7th spot right now. They're in technically.
So
They're above the Saints, Seahawks, Falcons, Packers. That is Saints are number 8, Seahawks 9, Falcons, Packers 10, 11.
yeah, I imagine that they can leapfrog the Vikings here. Somehow the Vikings are still holding on to a playoff spot for dear life. They play the Saints, Giants, and Niners. The Niners is obviously going to be a tough game, but that's their last game. Are the Niners going to have anything to play for the last game?
It's pretty
Um,
sad that the last three seeds in the NFC are all 7-7.
I mean, yeah,
At
it
least the
looked,
last two seeds of at least the last two seeds of the AFC are 8-6. They're a positive record. Like, sure, you're being 500 is not technically negative, but it's also not technically positive.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
neutral.
yeah. I mean, it's good for the Packers at least.
Yeah. I'll tell you one team that's not neutral, though, that's the Niners, man. That team is straight up in overdrive, dude. Niners at Cardinals. Niners were favored by 12 points. I did not take that line, and you did. And man, I am a fool. Stupid me for thinking the Cardinals were going to keep it closer than that. They did keep it close for about a half, like I thought, but the Niners just didn't make any mistakes. Cardinals started to fall apart at the end there. And yeah, Niners absolutely dominated 45-29.
Yeah, they're a really good football team. In case anybody hasn't caught on to that,
Yeah.
um, McCaffrey, 72 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 115 yards on the ground on 18 carries, another touchdown.
Grown ass
Brock
man
Purdy,
game.
Brock Purdy, another 4 touchdown game. This dude's a real deal. It's not even a question anymore, man. This
Yeah.
Brock Purdy dude is a baller. And there were a couple of deep balls that he missed on too, just barely. And you saw him get worked up after he missed them. You'll love to see that because
Yeah.
he expects excellence out of himself. I'm happy to see Kyler Murray come back in that game after getting hurt.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
like a
scary. That was really scary.
fuck.
As someone who enjoys Kyler Murray, that was really scary. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if we
James
want to,
Conner too had it.
yep, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, if we want to
That's your
keep
boy.
handing out stats accolades here, let's hit it off with some James Conner. Yeah, 14 for 86 and a touchdown. I mean, receiving game, he didn't do much, but he had three receptions. It's like
Yeah.
3 for 3. And then, hey, look at that. Trey McBride, aka T McB, 10 catches for 102, and his longest being 38 yards on a catch. I mean, dude, that dude is finally paying off after a couple of years of development for them. He looks to be the real deal. I kind of like what Arizona's got cooking, man. Like, if you go into the draft and they go get Marvin Harrison, if he decides to come out, that's a
A
nice
real
offense
a
right
real
there. A
WR1.
real WR1 for Kyler to throw to. You got a nice tight end. James Conner may or may not be there again next year, but he looks serviceable still, man. He looks like he's still got
Yeah.
juice. I think next year I'd
It's
even like
injuries.
that's the
That's
only thing. Yeah, you need to make sure you got some depth behind him. But the
would
Arizona's got some nice things cooking.
I completely agree with you. I'd be stoked to be a Cardinals fan. Even at 3-11, you're gonna get a nice draft pick. If they do not keep Kyler Murray, which we've said this
They would
ad
be idiots
nauseum,
not to. Yeah,
what if I told you Arizona had 436 yards this game to San Francisco's 406. They outgained them this game.
that's crazy.
The 2 turnovers are what killed them. I
Yeah,
mean, like, hey, and they had time of possession 34 minutes for the Cardinals, 25 minutes for the
yep.
49ers. Like, I mean,
They lost by 16. That's two possessions, and they had two turnovers. That was the
yeah.
game.
So I mean, there's obviously we're fandoms of certain teams, and the Cardinals is one of those teams where I think we both kind of like watching them play. We like Kyler Murray, and I think in the
I like
coming years they're going to have success.
I like Kyler, and the only reason I follow the Cardinals with like remote closeness at all is because shout out to my 8-year-old sister. That's her favorite team. So she picked them out all by herself. She loves the Cardinals, so I'm
Yeah, and
always
they're
I'm
fun to
always
watch.
following the Cardinals. Yeah, they
Yeah.
got Kyler Murray. I mean, she's 8 years old. They drafted Kyler Murray just a few years ago. I told her she's at least got a fun childhood to look forward to. She's got entertainment. They're not going to be non-competitive as long as they have
How
Kyler Murray.
old your sister?
She's 8.
Oh, so him and Kyler are about the same height.
Yeah, just about. Oh man, let's move on to the next game here, and that is a complete surprise blowout victory. Cowboys
Yeah,
at the Bills. Bills absolutely took care of business, stomped on the Cowboys 31-10. It was
yeah.
31-3 basically until there was about 4 minutes to go in the game. That last touchdown was garbage. Josh Allen didn't have to do practically anything. I mean,
90
James
Josh
Cook.
Allen,
I mean, he
7
had a
for
good,
15, 94 yards, and
yeah,
they won 31-10.
yeah.
He didn't have to do a damn thing.
I've been telling y'all, and I'm still sticking with it. Buffalo lost to Philly, and I'm like, this is it. Buffalo's gonna win out. They're gonna go make the
Yeah.
playoffs. and they're going to be the team that nobody wants to see because they're going to the bowl, and I'm sticking with that. I'll
I
be
like
interested to
that.
see how
Yeah.
Philly responds here tonight to see if I'm definitely still sticking with Philly because I'm of the
Tomorrow.
opinion that, yeah, tomorrow. Sorry, I wish the Eagles were playing tonight. Hashtag AJ Brown. But I'm of the opinion that if you get new information, like if a team shows you who they really are, you're allowed to change your opinion on if you think they're going to go. You can make a beginning of season call and compare it at the end of the season. But like as the season goes, definitely keep your opinion fluid. As of now, I'm still sticking with the realistic option of Buffalo getting to the bowl. And honestly, it's between Philly and the Niners for me. They're neck and neck
Yeah. No, I'm not far off from that.
because Dallas got
So
absolutely exploited today.
I
I
did
mean,
not
they
take I did not take this line. You did. I don't live on the same or die or whatever. I can't think of a good analogy. That the Cowboys did get exploited to an extent, but the game kind of got blown up, and the game plan got blown up with the non-block punt that somehow wasn't the block punt, and then
yeah.
turned into and then it just that game got away from the Cowboys. They weren't able to get their game plan. It was a rainy ass game. I
Yeah.
mean, the only touchdown that CeeDee Lamb had was a rushing one. Who would have ever thought that? Like,
Like a jet sweep, yeah. That
yeah,
almost that almost didn't get handed off cleanly.
we were talking before the show. I mean, I don't put this as much on the Cowboys are still a contender here for the Super Bowl.
I don't think
They're
so. I think they're out of Super Bowl contention now.
I mean, I don't think so at all. I think that there's still going to be a competitive team there with they beat the living crap out of the Eagles.
They're gonna have to be able to sit their pretty asses at home and play everybody if they want to get to the Super Bowl,
No,
and that's not gonna happen. Like they're not gonna get home field if they're gonna have to play San Fran at some point, and San Fran
yeah,
that's gonna be in San Fran because they have the
yeah.
tiebreaker, and I don't
That'd be
think
kind of
Dallas.
sweet though.
That would be cool, but I don't think Dallas is gonna do it there. Like if San Fran had to come to Dallas, then you'd have my attention, but.
Yeah.
I
Eh.
do like. I mean, this was the first game, like we said, that I should say, like I said, that we got to see Dallas in like a real weather situation game, and they look totally unprepared.
I mean, there
They
were
have they have
the
no
game
idea how to play in the weather.
the you can't deny that. I think it's between the Eagles, Cowboys, and 49ers here.
Fair enough. I mean, they have
Obviously.
an argument to be made. I just
Oh,
don't
they
think they're in there.
I mean, they're definitely in the top three. Who would be your third over there in the NFC?
I don't have a third. It's pretty much those two, and then everybody else. I put the Lions and the Cowboys in their own subgenre. If you really want to, if you had to put a gun to my head, but like
I'm putting a gun to your
honestly,
head. Who are your top three in the NFC?
you would have to throw in either the Lions or the Cowboys. Like
Which one?
they're not even in the same class to me.
I don't care if they're in the same class. I'm
they're in
asking for your third. They're the
here
third. You're right. They're
here's
not one or two.
here's the Niners and the Eagles, and then here's everybody else, and those
No,
two are kind of right in between, man. Like it's this weird. They're in this
that's why
gray
you have
matter.
1, 2, and 3. One
They're
isn't in the same class as two. Two isn't in the same class as three. Who's your third that you like in the NFC? Just tell me. Lions or Cowboys? Both play in a dome and both suck at away games. Who do you got at a neutral site?
That's tough, man. That's really tough. I would have to lean Cowboys just because they do have a better defense than Detroit. But I
Well,
like the
neither of them are
offense.
winning a Super Bowl. We can agree with
Yes,
that. All right,
yes,
carry on.
I definitely agree. I like the offense on Detroit about as much as I like Dallas's offense, but
Yeah. So
I think Dallas got a little exposed still. Like I think there's stuff on tape that their opponents going forward can take advantage of.
yeah, so the rain, obviously the weather didn't help, and it exposed the fact that everybody knew the Cowboys' run game was inept. And if they have to go somewhere like a Philly or somewhere with bad weather here in the playoffs,
Yep.
which probably isn't going to happen with bad weather in the playoffs for them, but like they couldn't stop that run worth a shit, man. The Buffalo, I mean, it was a joke. Nobody would have picked this script at all. Josh Allen was probably like, "Wow, I don't have to be a superstar. I
Yeah.
get to hand the ball off the whole game." That literally was a rest game for Allen.
Yeah.
That was a rest game. That was a
31 to
practice
10.
rest.
31 to 10, less than 100 yards. That's
Yeah,
crazy, man. That's
like
bonkers.
the Cowboys couldn't throw the ball worth of shit. They couldn't stop a run worth their life.
The
And
Cowboys
then,
were running the ball decently. I mean, that's just not enough against that Buffalo team.
I mean, barely Pollard had 52 yards. He's a
But
leading rusher.
yeah, and they got away from the run though. How many attempts?
11.
they got away from it. Like, it's like he was averaging almost 5 yards a clip. Like,
Yeah, that game was total domination by the Buffalo Bills. And I do think it shows, obviously, it exposes some things that I already kind of thought I knew about the Cowboys.
yeah,
But it really is a statement game here for the Buffalo Bills. And I really, really hope that they can put some wins together and make it into the playoffs because I want to see this Buffalo Bills team in the playoffs. And
I
they
do
should be
too.
able to do it against the Chargers next week, the Patriots a week after, and then at Miami, which is going to be a huge game.
That'll probably
Yeah,
be for the division.
man, the Bills have showed how many weeks in a row they don't need to use their superstar Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis doesn't even need to be on the field, and
So fucking aggravating. Oh my God.
it's aggravating, but at the same time, you want this team to go. You think you're going to win it? Well, hey man, they're going to need to use him, and he's going to be ready because he's a veteran. And when you saw that one-handed catch that he had in this game,
I did see that. Yeah, he had a highlight play. Too bad it wasn't in the end zone.
a highlight play. And what did they throw the ball to him twice? Like he was just sitting
Yeah.
around, just throwing a block here every play. So I'm with you, man. If I'm not a whole big like pick 'em. Like I kind of like to sit back and wait and show me versus me being a big bandwagon on somebody. But
Yeah.
man, I love the Buffalo Bills, which I mean I've low key always been like I like the Bills. I like Allen's energy. I like the
Oh,
team, the grittiness. I mean, like if you go to Pennsylvania where my family's from, everybody up there is a Bills fan. There's
I
some
love Josh
Steelers
Allen
fans,
so much.
but
I call him Daddy Allen. Like he is, dude. He is a stud of studs, man. Like
I
if
just
I
hope
if I
that they
was an
don't
NFL GM and had my pick of the litter, like Mahomes on the board and everything, I'd take Josh Allen.
same. I'm with you. I'm with you, man. He's got that. I just feel like I can hang out and have a beer with him, some wingies,
For
dude.
real, man. I mean,
But
I've seen his interviews and stuff, like especially him at the golf tournaments and whatnot. Like, dude, I've ever like just all the behind the scenes stuff. Like, he's definitely someone I'd be interested to hang out with for a day from the NFL.
I just hope that they don't shoot themselves in the foot here. That's
Yeah,
it. I hope that they continue this role.
I think the
They,
Bills
they
will.
the losses are behind them.
I think they learned their lessons, man. They've been through enough trauma. I think they I honestly I don't think they're thinking about any of it. I think they're just
That's
looking
probably
at
the
the
best
task
thing.
at
Don't
hand, and
think.
that's why they're doing
Yeah,
so well. Yeah.
that's a good point. That was a very good point.
But let's move on to the next game here. That is this Sunday night matchup that just kicked off a little while ago here.
Fourth
That
and
is
six at Jacksonville's 44 for the Jaguars. Looks like they're going to punt here.
all right. What do we got for a score and a time?
0-0, 12 minutes left in the first. So it just started. Pretty much first drive here. Jacksonville's punted. Oh,
Yeah.
they just punted. Yeah.
Baltimore is favored by 3.5, and we both have this line. So I think tonight, honestly, it's going to come down to Lamar. How well he plays will dictate if the Ravens win or not, because he looked a little shaky last week and in certain spots. And I think it's going to come down to that again tonight. The Ravens, I mean, the Jags have a great run defense. I'll be interested to see if Lamar can carve him up with his arm.
Yeah.
See if
Yeah,
they
I'm
figured
with
out
you,
how to
man.
deal without the Mark Andrews yet. Still,
I'm as much as, I'm trying to separate my Steelers fandom from liking the Raiders, but I do love watching Lamar Jackson play football, mainly because when he plays the Steelers, we destroy him. But I like watching him outside of that. He's a great quarterback. He should be able to carve this team up. The Jags have shown so many games where they can be exposed,
Jag's
but
gonna jag, man. Jag's
yeah,
gonna jag.
I think we did. Did we cover this game last time?
We did, but I mean,
Yeah,
we're just bringing it up because
just a little pitter
why
patter.
not refresh, you know? But
Yeah, yeah.
with that being said, that's going to do it for today's episode.
No, we got to pick Monday Night Football, dude. We're not done.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I always do this. I'm always in such
I
a
know.
hurry
You're
because now
good.
I get to go watch this game, Ravens at Jags. But yeah, so the Monday night game, Eagles at Seahawks, Philly, -3 is the line. Mike,
Still the line.
I want you to make your
I
pick
want you
first.
to make the pick. You're the one that's
Nah,
behind in
nah,
our
nah,
picks
nah, nah,
here.
nah, nah.
I'm taking Hurts is Hurts. That's the biggest thing here in this game.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts playing.
If Jalen Hurts is playing, I'm smashing this line. If Marcus Mariota's playing,
Is Geno Smith
I,
playing? He's also questionable. I'm
I think I just got to take this line, man. I think the rest of that Eagles
I'm
team,
with
whether
you.
whether Jalen plays or not, I think they're going to step up and rebound.
Geno's a game day decision. I'm guessing Hurts is a game day decision. I'd say we
Probably.
both just take this line here. We have a wash here for the week, even though you need to catch up. It's only a couple weeks left.
Yeah, we didn't start from week 1, so it's not like you can hang a banner this year.
Yeah, but we start at the same point. So
Like I said, it's not like we started in week 1.
I'm hanging a banner.
I know you will.
Um,
You can
I,
have it.
I,
I'll take the real banner this year in fantasy football. Dude, if I
easy.
win, I'm
This
gonna
is
hit up
hey,
one of those places they advertise on like the on like ESPN Fantasy Focus or like the fantasy footballers where like you can go get a ring made or a banner made or something. I'm legit gonna get probably a banner made and I'll
we
hang it
gotta
on the wall.
we gotta get one made. Even though we started late, this still it all counts. We started at the same 0-0. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. We
I
started at
mean,
the same
but
point. No, we
that
started at the same
it's not the
point.
full season. That's the
It
thing is
doesn't.
I'm in other pick and pools and it's based on points. Like you put
This isn't.
confidence points on the game, and this is the kind of the same thing. You're tracking
Yeah,
your overall score. So
yeah, but this isn't a
a
pick
full
'em
slate,
pool.
a full slate would be a little nicer. Full 17 games. But we started late in the year, so whatever.
I mean, they don't ask how. You know, I don't know. Because if I said how many, then you'd say not all full season.
Exactly. I was
So
just waiting for you to eat your feet there. That's all right.
it still counts. But
As
yeah,
you
I
as you
think the
can,
Eagles, if it's two backup quarterbacks, I still think the Eagles can win this game.
yeah,
Although it is in Seattle. I think the Eagles are going to be a little bit more of a gritty team.
yeah.
Uh, I have
Matt
one
Patricia
last.
gonna call in the defensive plays this week.
So as I'm sitting here, I just have Twitter here on the side to end this thing. So one of his latest posts here was, will Mike Tomlin be the head coach of the Steelers in 2024? There was a bunch of votes here. What do you think the percentages are of yes and no?
Oh, well, the game just ended today. I'd say
Yesterday.
yeah, my bad. Yesterday, this weekend, I'd say the percentages are vastly in the in the no category. He will not be there in 2024.
I was surprised. I would have thought the same thing. It's 60% yes,
Oh, wow.
40% no. Yeah. And also under this was a picture of Trevor Lawrence next to a picture of what's his name from Star Wars?
Luke
Uh
Skywalker, Darth
no,
Vader,
no, the little
Obi-Wan
alien
Kenobi,
dude.
Yoda,
No, the little alien dude.
Yoda,
No.
Jar Jar
Um
Binks,
Jar Jar Binks. So
Jar Jar Binks. Oh
Google
my
Jar Jar
goodness,
Binks and look at Trevor Lawrence.
that's terrible.
But yeah, man. Yeah, close this out here. Awesome week of full slate of football. We're gonna have another one here next week. And I'm not leaving my house I'm leaving the house to go to work, but I'm not out of town for quite some time. Done with school, hunting season's over. I'm amped to be at home, cozy, and yeah, stoked for next week already. So
Oh yeah, and we will definitely be touching in on a fantasy recap here on our Tuesday. Pardon me,
Wednesday.
Wednesday
Wednesday or
episode.
Thursday, whichever day
Yeah,
we link
whichever
up.
day works better for us. Yeah, our
Yeah,
Wednesday/Thursday episode of the show to see if you made it past your first round of the playoffs or if not.
I did.
So it's looking good for me. I'm not out of the woods yet, but
If Zay
I
Flower drops 60, I'm out. Zay Flowers ain't dropping 60.
I should know how good I'm looking after this game tonight. So my opponent has the Jags defense to go. I have AJ Brown to go, and I'm already up by about 13 points. So I should be good, but you never
Well,
know.
and our league. Hey, you got to show some credit to our league. That's important to me.
Yeah, I started 1-8, went on a miraculous run, and I'm facing a tiebreaker situation to possibly be in the playoffs. So
Yeah, dude,
'cause I don't think
you,
I'm winning this week. I left James Cook on the bench. RIP to me.
you're losing this week, but you need Kyle to also lose, and then I think you're in.
Yes.
So,
The
I
Squirrel
mean, you
Man
had a
shall go
crazy.
down this week, and I shall get in on the tiebreakers. I can feel it. The football gods are with me.
They've been with you, man.
They have been with me, man. Ever
Oh,
since I picked
Kyle.
up Rashad White, the football gods have been with me.
Kyle now has a 51% chance to win. That's
If you're
one.
watching
Oh,
this,
now it's
Pops, I
50.
need you
Now
to
it's
pull this out.
50-50. Now it's 50-50. It's 144.8 projected to 144.7, dude. Hey, I want you in there
The
because that
nail
1 and 8,
biter.
dude, let's go.
That'd be a Cinderella story. Well, all
Good.
right, everybody, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for supporting the show. All of you that have been here, and all of those of you new to us here at T1FP. Welcome. We appreciate the support. Go ahead and give this video a like. We appreciate it. Hit the
Yeah.
subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode.
Yes,
So that's
sir,
it,
dude.
everybody. We'll catch you on the next episode of the First and Football Podcast. Have a great week.